It was a Tuesday night in late October. Cold rain drifted across the East River, the kind that feels more like mist than rain, the kind that soaks through your jacket without you noticing. My name is Michael Rivera. I was 26 when this happened, living in a cramped studio apartment in Queens above a laundromat that never closed. The place smelled permanently like detergent and hot metal, and every night around 3 in the morning, the machines downstairs would start rattling so loud it felt like the floor was shaking. I'd grown up in the Bronx, and during the day I worked part-time fixing computers at a repair shop. At night I delivered pizzas for a small place called Bella's Slice. It wasn't glamorous work. My car smelled permanently like tomato sauce and burnt cheese. My hands always had grease stains that never fully washed out. But the money was decent, and I definitely needed it. And anyway, the night shifts meant fewer customers and more tips from people too tired to cook. Besides, I liked driving through the city at night. New York after midnight feels different. The crowds thin out, storefronts go dark, streets that are normally packed with people suddenly feel wide and empty. That night started slow. Inside Bella's Slice, the ovens glowed orange. Luis was working the late shift with me. Luis had been delivering pizza for almost 10 years, which made him the closest thing we had to a veteran. He knew every shortcut in Queens and could recognize apartment buildings just by the color of their stairwells. We were closing soon. Only the two of us were left in the shop. Luis was wiping down the counter while humming badly along with the radio. I sat near the counter scrolling through my phone, waiting for the last order. The delivery app chimed. One order. End-of-night deliveries were always the worst, either drunk college kids or someone who took 20 minutes to find their wallet. I took a breath, ready for the last task, but then I saw the address. At first I thought it was a glitch. The address didn't make sense. I read it again. North, Brother, Island. I frowned. Luis, this can't be right. What? He asked. I turned the screen toward him. He squinted. The hell? You ever heard of that place? Luis leaned back slowly. Yeah, his tone had changed. What is it? I insisted. It's an island in the East River. So? Nobody lives there. Apparently someone does, I murmured. I turned the phone toward him. He walked over slowly. The screen showed 1 large pepperoni pizza, 1 bottle of water, customer name, Mary M. Delivery instructions, ward building, front entrance. We stood there staring at the screen. Luis scratched his beard. That's weird. Weirder than usual? He nodded. That island's been abandoned for decades, he said. Maybe someone moved in, I suggested. I looked again at the delivery instructions. It said, front entrance. That was it. No apartment number, no building name, just front entrance. Maybe someone's camping there, I said. Luis gave me a doubtful look. You ever see people camping in the East River? Maybe they have a boat? I tried again. Maybe. He still didn't look convinced. I stared at the order again. North, Brother Island. I had lived in New York my entire life and had never heard of it, which was strange. Something about the words ward building made my skin prickle. How does the app even accept an address like that? I wondered loudly. Luis shrugged. Probably thinks it's a park or something. I almost canceled the order, but then I saw the tip, $50, for a single pizza. Okay, I said. Luis stared at me. You're actually going to take that? For $50? Yeah, and it's probably just some rich guy with a boat. Bro. What? Luis looked at me. That place is weird. I grabbed the pizza bag. Everything in New York is weird, I heard myself saying. But even as I said it, I felt a small knot of unease, and as I walked toward the door, I couldn't shake the feeling that Luis was watching me, like someone watching a friend walk into a bad idea. North Brother Island sits in the East River between the Bronx and Rikers Island. Most people in New York don't even know it exists. Just a tiny island, barely marked, just north of the Bronx. It's off limits. No ferries, no residents, no reason to go there. And yet, the app had accepted the address like it was any normal delivery. The rain had thickened into a steady mist that blurred the windshield as I drove through Queens and into the Bronx. The streets were mostly empty, just the occasional taxi passing under dim streetlights. Traffic was light. My GPS kept repeating the same instruction: continue to waterfront. Eventually, the buildings thinned out. Warehouses replaced apartment blocks. Then even those disappeared. The road ended at a small marina. The river stretched out ahead of me like a black sheet of moving glass. And out in the middle of it, I saw the island, North Brother Island. Trees covered most of it, but through the branches I could see the outlines of old buildings, large ones, brick structures with broken windows and sagging roofs. My phone buzzed. A message from the customer. Please hurry. I stared at the screen. Then another message appeared. They closed the doors early. My chest tightened slightly. Lock the doors? What doors? The island didn't even have electricity. That's when I noticed the boat, an old motorboat tied loosely to the dock, and beside it stood a man in a raincoat. He was watching me, in a suspicious way, like someone watching a stranger walk into the wrong place. You a delivery guy? He called. Yeah. For the island? My stomach tightened. How did you know? He nodded toward the pizza bag in my hand. He flicked his cigarette into the river and studied me for a long moment. You know that place is closed. Yeah. And you're still going? It's a delivery. The man sighed. Fine, $20. 20? The tip alone is 50. Then you can afford it. I hesitated. He shrugged. Your choice. Behind him, the island loomed like a shadow. I handed him the money. The boat ride took less than 5 minutes, but something about the darkness made it feel longer. The motor hummed softly as we cut across the river. Wind whipped cold rain across the deck. The man didn't talk much, but halfway there he glanced at me. You got 10 minutes, the boatman said as we approached the dock. 10? I don't stay longer than that. Why not? He didn't answer. He just looked toward the island. The boat slowed near a half-collapsed dock. The motor idled quietly in the water. I stepped onto the dock. The wood creaked under my weight. I tightened the straps on the pizza bag and stared up at the island. And for the first time that night, I noticed how quiet the island was. In New York, there's always noise, cars, sirens, voices. But here, there was nothing, just wind moving through trees. And somewhere deep in the island, a metal door slammed shut. I turned. Hello? Nothing. The boatman spoke quietly behind me. 10 minutes. Then the motor started again, and the boat drifted away from the dock. The path through the island looked like it hadn't been used in decades. Trees leaned over cracked pavement, grass pushed through broken sidewalks, and ahead of me stood massive brick buildings. The buildings loomed like empty tombs, their windows dark and lifeless, like empty eyes staring at the river. I hesitated. My pulse spiked, but the order, the promised tip, pushed me forward. I stepped closer. The building I reached had boarded windows, walls flaking like pewing skin. I looked at the delivery instructions. It said, Ward Building, front entrance. The entrance doors hung open. Of course they were. My phone buzzed again. Another message. You're almost here. A chill slid down my spine. I stepped inside. The smell hit me immediately. Not mold, not decay, something sharper, like disinfectant. I carried the pizza bag tightly. The smell of pepperoni and cheese suddenly absurd, in contrast to the damp, metallic air. My footsteps echoed across the floor. The entrance hall stretched into darkness. My foam flashlight flickered across peeling paint and collapsed ceilings. What is this place? I wondered. Why would someone order a pizza from here? Then I saw something that made my stomach twist. Footprints. Fresh ones. Leading down the hallway. I followed them slowly. Doors lined both sides. I noticed room numbers faded into the paint. 101, 102, 103. Some rooms were empty. Others still held rusted beds. Was this a hotel once? I noticed some rooms looked different. One had blankets folded neatly. Another had a chair beside the bed, like someone had been sitting there recently. My heart beat faster. Then I saw her. A woman standing at the end of the hallway, still, watching me. She looked normal, dark hair pinned back neatly, a pale dress, hands folded in front of her. She didn't smile, she simply waited. I swallowed. Mary M?
Yes.
She stepped closer, and for the first time I noticed something strange. The hallway lights above us flickered, except there were no lights. She tilted her head slightly, eyes glinting in the flashlight beam.
You came.
She said softly, not a greeting, not a question, a statement. I placed the bag on a nearby counter. Here's your pizza. She stepped closer, slowly. Her eyes scanned the bag, then flicked to me. When she spoke, her voice was polite.
You must be the delivery boy.
I swallowed. She opened the pizza box and inhaled deeply.
I miss the smell of restaurants. I smell life.
She stepped closer again, her dress brushing against the ground. There was a strange stillness about her. Nice night for an island, I said, trying to sound casual. My own words sounded ridiculous even to me.
It is quiet here. Too quiet.
Her fingers rested gently on the pizza box.
They don't let me leave.
Something about the way she said it made my skin crawl. Who doesn't? I asked. She just tilted her head, and a faint, unnerving smile appeared on her face. The hallway lights flickered again. This time I was sure of it. Then I heard her murmuring to herself, like I was not even there.
I've been here a long time.
I glanced at her, not sure what I'm supposed to say.
For the safety of others.
She continued. I felt my chest tighten. What? What is she talking about? And a long time? Like weeks? I wondered in my heart.
Decades, I think.
She suddenly added. I stepped back, my heart racing. Decades? What is this place? Who is this woman? Decades. The words settled in my chest like stone. She had been here for decades. Can that be real? Mary looked down at the pizza again.
They say I carry something.
What? I looked at her. She looked back at me.
But I didn't carry anything.
The words felt heavy in the air. I swallowed hard, feeling a creeping unease. I realized the sounds around me, the dripping, the wind, the distant creak of wood. Her hands flexed slightly. I noticed her fingers, pale and thin, almost translucent.
I don't understand, but I wait.
She said. Her eyes held me.
You never get used to it. The waiting, the silence, the closed doors. I never understood why.
I nodded, though I didn't understand myself. I'm supposed to leave, I said. I can't stay long. She tilted her head again, and that faint, unnerving smile lingering again.
You can go.
She said. I hoped she would give me the tip now, but she just opened the pizza box and inhaled again, eyes closing briefly. I felt a strange dread settle over me. This woman has been here a long time. And you're alone here? I asked carefully. Her smile tightened. I shivered. I decided not to wait for the tip. I should go. The boat?
Yes, you should go.
I ran. Not because of her. Not exactly. Or maybe, I'm not sure, I just felt something wrong. I ran down the cracked path, my shoes squelching in the wet wood. My heart was hammering, my breath sharp in the cold night air. I didn't know what I had expected, that she would follow me, that the buildings would collapse. But nothing happened. The shadows stayed still. Only the sound of the wind through the trees reached my ears, and somewhere, faintly, the drip of water from a broken roof. I stopped and tried to calm myself. Michael, I whispered, shaking my head as if saying my own name could make me feel safer. You're just delivering pizza. That's all this is. Just a weird, abandoned island. Nothing else. And yet, my mind refused to be convinced. There was something in the way she said she'd been waiting. Her calmness, the faint smile that never reached her eyes. It stuck in my head like a whisper I couldn't shake. I still have 5 minutes left till I will miss the boat. Maybe I will be able to figure something out about this place. I forced myself forward. The path curved toward the largest structure I had seen. A massive brick building, partially hidden by ivy and twisted tree roots. The building leaned slightly, as if exhausted from decades of neglect. Windows were jagged with broken glass, and a rusted metal sign hung crooked above what must have once been an entrance. I couldn't read the letters anymore. They were worn away. Maybe another section of the hotel. I climbed the cracked steps and pushed open the heavy door. It creaked loudly, echoing into the darkness inside. My heart pounded wildly. Inside, the air was heavier. Wet wood, moss, and something metallic. My flashlight revealed a long hallway again, stretching endlessly. There were doors along both sides of this hallway too. Some hung open, revealing empty, dusty rooms. Others were closed, their surfaces warped and peeling. But I noticed something else. Faded signs, half hidden. Words I didn't recognize at first. Numbers, letters, symbols. And in one corner, barely visible, a painted word. Isolation. I blinked. It could have been a trick of the poor light, my brain trying to find sense in shapes. Yes, I am sure of it. It's just the poor light. The silence was oppressive. I felt like I was intruding somewhere I shouldn't be. And yet curiosity, and maybe fear too, pushed me forward. I walked slowly down the hall, my shoes echoing on the concrete floor. My phone flashlight flickered across walls and peeling paint. Old signs hung crooked overhead. I managed to read, laundry. What? I wondered. The laundry room of the hotel? Could be, I thought. My footsteps echoed across the floor. I turned into a narrower hallway. I reached the end of it and found myself standing in front of a massive door. Unlike the others. Here I could still read the sign above it. Isolation. Again, now I was sure of it. My pulse raced. I didn't understand what I was seeing. Was this place a prison, and not a hotel after all? I quickly turned around. I decided I have had enough of this place. I tried to go back, but somehow I wasn't sure anymore where the entrance was. I started to panic. Just breathe, I told myself. Just walk. You will find the way out. I peeked inside a door that appeared on my left, slightly ajar. It looked ordinary. A room with a bed frame, a chair, and a small cabinet. I froze. The bed had an indentation, like someone had lain there recently. I jumped back. My heart was pounding again. I whispered her name. Mary? No answer. I moved further down the hall. Is she here? Each door looked the same. Some rooms were empty. Others had old furniture or broken objects. And then I saw her. Mary. She was standing at the far end of the hall. I didn't know how long we stood there, staring at each other. Mary didn't move, her pale dress brushing the floor, hands folded neatly, her dark eyes fixed on me, and that faint, unnerving smile returned.
You're still here.
My mouth went dry. I'm just trying to figure out, I stammered, what this place is. Mary's eyes drifted down the hallway.
It holds people. Some don't leave.
I swallowed. People? She nodded. Then she added, almost casually.
They cough blood.
I froze. My stomach turned. The words were so soft, almost like a whisper. She stepped closer, tilting her head to study my face.
Do you see the doors? Some doors are for safety, and some never get to leave. You see, some people carry things inside them, things they cannot feel, but that others can.
I didn't understand. Her smile faded.
Some people can't leave, not even when they want to.
Her calmness was terrifying. The way she spoke of those weird things as if they were normal sent a wave of nausea through me. Now I really wanted to leave. I told myself to leave, now. But I was rooted in my place.
Some vanish forever.
She added slowly. I froze mid-motion. Mary looked up.
They said I was dangerous.
Her eyes fixed on mine.
But I never was.
I felt my pulse hammering in my ears. Am I in danger right now? I moved a step back, chest tight. The hall seemed to stretch farther with each second. A faint sound, drip, drip, echoed through the hallway. Then she added,
The fear in their eyes. They closed the doors.
I stared at her, fear tightening in my chest, the words hanging in the air like smoke. My legs itched to bolt back to the fog and river, back to the city. But before I could move, she tilted her head, gesturing toward a narrow staircase leading to a mezzanine I hadn't noticed.
I can't reach it. I could use a hand.
What is it? I asked, instinctively stepping back. Heart hammering.
A box.
She murmured.
On the top shelf. Too heavy for me.
I hesitated. My pulse raced. My instincts screamed at me to leave, and yet despite the dread knotting in my chest, I found myself climbing the rickety stairs. The shelf loomed above us. I reached for the box, and as I lifted it down, the lid shifted slightly. Inside were old towels and clothes, starkly stained, dark and crusted. The smell, iron, clung to my fingers. My stomach turned. Mary's voice came from behind me, soft and chilling.
They cough blood. They cough blood into clothes.
I froze again, trying to digest what she had just said. She continued murmuring to herself.
You don't see it until too late.
What? My thoughts were running wild. What is going on here? Then she gestured to a cupboard above the shelf.
Some things are high. Too high for me.
I climbed again, like a captive of her, not able to resist her somehow, but my stomach was twisting. Inside the cupboard were jars with faded labels, some cracked, some still holding faint residues that smelled faintly of iron again. I almost dropped the flashlight. Mary's calm, faintly bewildered voice floated behind me.
I liked cooking.
I lowered the box to the floor, my hands trembling. I blinked. Cooking? You cook? She gave a small, almost wistful sigh.
Yes, I liked it, but I tried not to touch them.
I shivered. What does that mean now? Mary's gaze drifted down the hallway, the shadows seeming to shift around her.
I wait here. The doors close, the river moves, and the world forgets. I wait.
She trailed off. A faint shiver ran through her shoulders.
The heat in kitchens, the smell of food, the faces that change.
I swallowed hard. Faces? Her lips curved slightly.
Sometimes they cough. Sometimes they touch nothing.
I felt my pulse hammering. I don't know what this woman is talking about. She looked down, folding her hands more tightly. I didn't know what to say. I was really scared now. The silence pressed against my ears. Only the wind moved outside, whispering through the broken windows. I wanted to leave, but I felt rooted, trapped. She stepped closer to me.
Can you help me again?
She whispered. My legs wanted to run. I thought about the boat, but I realized I wasn't leaving. Not yet. Not until she was done. My flashlight bobbing with every step. Doors lined the walls, most closed, some open just a crack. Faded signs, letters and numbers barely legible, stared back at me. She was talking like to herself, but I could still hear it.
They said I carried something inside me. Something dangerous.
The air was thick and damp. My heart was pounding. I was not sure what will happen if I resist her, and I didn't want to try it. I stepped on old stains on the floor, dark and crusted, like dried blood. My stomach clenched. She watched me for a moment, then murmured, as though to herself,
I didn't feel it. They locked the doors twice. Never understood why.
The words twisted inside me. What doors? What does she mean? The doors of these rooms? We reached a room. She gestured again, and I followed.
The hands must be careful. Always careful.
She moved past me, her hands brushing the walls.
I liked cooking, but the doors, always closing. I never understood why.
My mind raced with possibilities. Why was she here? She stopped at another door.
Some doors hold people. Some hold more.
I began to consider my options for how to get out of this place right now. And then Mary's voice floated behind me again.
Twice I was taken. I never understood.
Her calm bewilderment was worse than screaming or threats. She pointed to another room down the hallway and nodded once.
It is heavy. The rooms need care.
There was no pleading, just calm certainty. I realized I couldn't leave. Not yet. My pulse kicked up. I followed her. Dust coated the floor. The walls bore scratches, faded letters, and numbers, almost like someone had tried to write messages that time had erased. She lingered in the shadows.
Twice. 26 years. Never understood why.
The words hit me like ice. I stumbled toward the next room, mind spinning. My own life felt suddenly absurd, small, pointless, safe, compared to the oppressive weight pressing down here.
Some vanish forever.
I heard her murmuring. What? What does that supposed to mean? I wanted to run again, but I just continued to lift heavy boxes and reach high shelves for her.
Can you reach that?
Mary's soft voice floated from the far side of the room. I followed her eyes to a tall, rusted cabinet, its top shelf just out of reach. I hesitated. My fingers brushed the peeling paint as I climbed a chair. Inside were more jars, bottles with faded labels again, and a small bundle of folded cloth. The metallic smell made my stomach churn. Mary's voice was behind me again.
The others cough blood. I never understand why.
I froze, heart hammering. Others, I whispered. My imagination was running wild. The hallway felt impossibly long, the shadows deeper.
Careful, careful with the hands.
She murmured, almost absent-mindedly.
I liked cooking.
I heard her voice again. My chest tightened. Her talking made no sense to me. I glanced at her scared. She stopped at another door again.
They said it was for everyone's safety.
A cold went down my spine. I should have left. I should have sprinted back to my life, the river, the noisy streets of the city. But I didn't.
They were afraid I could touch them.
I stepped back, my flashlight trembling. I decided to be brave and try to get some answers. But you're here, you're fine, aren't you?
You have to wash your hands.
What? Me? Now? I looked at her confused. But she just moved past me, like a shadow. She guided me down a narrow hallway to another shelf. Again, we lifted together. Inside were jars, cracked, some with faint residues. Her voice drifted behind me, calm but strange, almost weary.
I never understood why. Decades I have waited.
I could not really believe it. How can someone be in this kind of place for decades? Maybe she is just a homeless who found this place and now is using me to help her clean around. Why have I stayed? Such a foolish idea. Now, I am also stuck here since my 10 minutes passed, so the boat already left.
Have you washed your hands?
I heard her asking me. A chill went down my spine. Why do I have to wash my hands now? But it didn't look like she was waiting for my answer anyway. All her talkings were like to herself, like I was not even there.
I've always been careful.
She whispered again, calm. Her voice came from the shadows, more like a breeze curling through the hall than speech.
They cough blood. When they cough blood, it's too late.
I felt my blood freezing in my veins. I followed her reluctantly through hall after hall, carrying buckets, moving furniture. I noticed old charts on the walls, stains that made my stomach churn. Mary turned slightly, just enough for me to catch her pale profile in the dim light.
Hands.
She murmured.
Always careful. Always touching. The doors close. I wait. I liked cooking, but the doors never opened.
Mary's voice continued to float around me.
Afraid of my hands.
I tried to look at her hands, but I saw nothing but her thin, fragile fingers.
I tried to be careful, always careful.
I couldn't help noticing that there was pride in her words, almost a quiet defiance, but also sorrow. Her hands tightened over each other, almost imperceptibly.
The hands must be careful. The hands that cook, touch. You never know.
I didn't know what to say, so I just nodded, trying not to look at her. The claws I pulled from the cabinet were stained, dark, crusted, like the ones in the box we had carried earlier. I set them down, trembling. The faint iron scent clung to the air, to my clothes, to my hair. I heard her voice behind me.
They were afraid of me.
I wanted to run for the 100th time now. I wanted to leave the building, leave the island entirely. I tried to think how I am going to do it without the boat now. But Mary stepped forward, her pale face calm, almost wistful.
You help me open it?
Gesturing toward a large, heavy trunk against the wall. My hands shook as we lifted it together. The metal was cold, the weight unforgiving. As we tilted it, I glimpsed inside. More bundles of cloth, journals, written in neat, old-fashioned script, and old photographs. I was not sure if I wanted to see these photographs, but I caught a glimpse of some of them. People stared up at me. The chill ran down my spine. Pale, sickly faces stared up at me. Their eyes seemed wide and empty, haunted, frozen in pain, expressions of fear and despair. I swallowed hard. Who are these people? Do prisons have photographs like that? Mary came closer, watching silently.
Hands, careful.
Towels and cloths with dark stains lay stacked around the trunk. A faint metallic tang filled the air. It's blood. I know it's blood. Of how many people? This question sent shivers down my spine. Mary moved beside me silently.
They promised it would only be temporary,
she said. I trembled. What is she talking about? I wanted to scream. Mary continued.
just until they understood it.
Understood what? I kept hearing her voice, calm, almost wistful.
The doors, always closing 26 years, they closed the doors on me.
I stared at her, my heart pounding wildly.
They were afraid of what I carried inside me.
I heard her voice. I wanted to run, now.
I just wanted to live.
I heard her murmuring. I wanted to drop everything and escape to the foggy path outside, to the distant city lights, to the normal life I had left behind, to my small apartment, the late-night subway rides, the pizza deliveries, to my cat sleeping in the corner of my room. But I only helped her carry another bundle to a higher shelf. Her eyes held me.
You never get used to it.
She said.
The waiting, the silence, the doors, I never understood why. I never understood why.
I nodded, though I felt like I am losing my mind. I wanted to scream, to bolt. I froze. For a moment I thought I heard faint coughing in the distance. Wet, ragged, impossibly quiet. I looked toward her. Her eyes were unblinking.
I don't understand why they locked me away.
I shivered. I glanced back toward the hallway entrance. The fog outside pressed at the windows. I turned back to Mary. She was standing in the shadows, hands folded. Still, her eyes watching me.
Twice. First time for 3 years.
Her words stumbled into silence.
They were afraid of what I carried inside me.
I should have left. I kept telling myself that, over and over, as we moved through the corridors, boxes, and shelves. My arms ached, my hands smelled metallic. My shirt was damp with dust and something else I couldn't name. But Mary's calm, patient presence anchored me in place.
Too high for me,
she said again, pointing toward a shelf tucked into the corner where the ceiling sloped. I climbed carefully, my fingers grazing peeling paint, heart hammering. Inside were jars and small boxes, some broken, some sealed tight. The smell of iron and dust clung to my skin. I pulled one down, peering at the faded label. I could barely read the scrawled letters, but they hinted at chemicals. Something medical. Behind me, Mary's voice came softly, almost wistful.
26 years, waiting. And still, the doors, closing. I never understood why.
My blood ran cold. 26 years, my mind raced.
The waiting. Always the waiting.
Mary's shadow was beside me.
Sometimes, the waiting never ends.
She moved like a shadow, murmuring.
People, coughing blood. I don't understand why.
Mary spoke again, voice almost melodic in its eerie calm.
They cough blood. When they cough blood, it's too late.
I felt a chill again through my whole body. I carried a bundle of cloths to a high shelf. I noticed faded newspapers peek from beneath them, fragile with age. Their headlines caught my eye. They screamed of sudden, strange illness. Mysterious fever spreads through the city. Sudden deaths. People dying quickly, quietly. Hospitals overwhelmed. Quarantines. And authorities fear sudden outbreak. My pulse quickened. Mary's presence followed me silently.
I like to cook. Always careful. Doors closing. 26 years. Alone.
I backed away, nausea rising. Mary tilted her head slightly.
Some vanish forever.
She murmured almost to herself.
I don't understand. I never understood.
In a corner I hadn't noticed before was a small cabinet, its paint peeling and warped. The door creaked as I opened it. Inside were towels, jars, more newspapers. But tucked beneath, I found a stack of old ledgers, patient logs, brittle papers, charts, names, dates, sudden deaths, written in neat, old-fashioned script. Some pages were marked with dark brown stains. My stomach churned. Mary's voice came behind me.
They promised it would only be temporary, just until they understood it.
I shivered. I needed to get some answers now. Mary was busy in another corner of the room talking to herself, so I tried to look quickly in a ledger. I fumbled with the pages, anxious, not sure what will happen if she finds out what I'm doing. I flipped through the brittle pages until I found the names scrawled neatly in fading ink. Mary Mallon. My stomach dropped. The name on the pizza order, Mary M. Was this woman's name Mary Mallon? Why does that name sound familiar? I felt dizzy. My pulse thundered in my ears. I wanted to run. I wanted to escape this building, the island. Her voice floated over me, almost melodic.
Always be careful with your hands. The doors are closing. Always closing.
We reached the far end of the building now. My hands were raw from lifting boxes and reaching for high shelves. My stomach twisting with every step, wondering when this nightmare will end, if at all. Mary moved ahead silently.
They said I was dangerous, but I never was.
She murmured. I followed her down the last narrow hallway. In the corner of the hall was a small desk, its wood cracked and yellowed. I noticed a key on the desk, small, rusted. A faint label above a nearby door read, "Restricted." My hands trembled as I lifted the key. I decided to open it and no matter what. I turned the knob, and the door creaked open. Inside was a small room, dimly lit by the moonlight seeping through cracks in the boards. Empty shelves lined the walls, but what caught my attention was a low bed in the center. The mattress was thin, stained, pressed flat over decades. Mary stepped inside. Her voice floated over me again, haunting.
I slept here. Waited 26 years. Doors closing.
I stepped back, my mind spinning, my pulse hammering. And then it hit me. This place was a hospital, a quarantine. She was a patient here, isolated, restricted, for 26 years. I couldn't wrap my mind about something now. She didn't look sick to me. Actually, she looks perfectly healthy. I felt a chill down my spine again. Then why is she here then? Mary's eyes met mine, almost sad.
26 years and still waiting.
I swallowed hard, and then she smiled, soft, eerie, and whispered,
The doors never opened for me. Not then, not now, not ever.
My phone vibrated, a notification from the delivery app. Delivery complete. I looked down. The customer name had changed. It no longer said Mary M. It said Mary Mallon. When I looked up again, she was gone. The hallway was empty. Dust hung in the air. I ran, stumbling, the flashlight beam bouncing wildly. Out of the building, through the trees, down to the dock. The boatman was waiting. "Thought you weren't coming back," he said. I climbed into the boat, shaking. As we pulled away from the island, I dared one look back. Through the mist, the building loomed. Mary was there, standing in a window, silent, still, watching the river, watching me leave. The doors behind her were closed. The next day I looked up North Brother Island and learned the truth. Early 1900s, New York, typhoid outbreaks, quarantines. An Irish immigrant woman, a cook, Mary Mallon. They called her dangerous. They called her Typhoid Mary. She carried typhoid fever but never got sick herself, yet had infected dozens of people. She was quarantined on North Brother Island for 26 years. She never understood why she was isolated, since she never got sick herself. The phenomenon of being a carrier of a disease, yet not getting sick yourself, was barely known at that time. So she had unintentionally harmed those she touched and cooked for. She was blamed for outbreaks, and was feared of. That place had not been a hotel or a prison, it had been a hospital, a quarantine. And she had been there. I remember the woman. Trapped for decades, bewildered. I remember the waiting, the doors, her confusion, her soft voice murmuring from the shadows. I never understood why. I never understood why. 26 years of isolation, of waiting and watching life pass, without understanding why she was left behind. My blood ran cold. Frustration and despair compressed into this quiet, still woman that stood before me, suspended behind the locked doors of an island that would not, and perhaps could not, let her leave. Mary died on the island on November 11, 1938, never allowed to leave. I tried to forget the delivery, but a week later, the app chimed again. One new order, address, North Brother Island, customer name, Mary M. And the delivery instructions were slightly different. They said, "Please hurry. They're locking the doors."